Well, it's mid-season for the Enid Outlaws, and Coach Dannhoff and Coach Tyson, thank you for coming to talk to me today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it. For our viewers out there, many may not know a lot about you, so starting with you, head coach, tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. Born and raised in the Midwest in Wisconsin. Traveled over the years south. Spent the last 25, 27 years in the South, southern states. Coached at every level that you possibly could be. I've been a head coach at a junior college, been assistant coach at every level, spent the last 13, 14 years at Division I level in several very successful programs and building great cultures. So with that being said, I think that kind of helped me prepare for this opportunity that Mr. Reed has provided me, and excited to take it. And I'm really enjoying working with the guys, working with the organization. It's been a lot of fun.
Great. What about yourself, Tyson?
Man, I can just say I can go way back for me as a player. I've been here in Enid before with the Storm back when we first had in USBL. That was a great experience, especially for Enid, because Enid is just a place where they love basketball here, entertainment and everything. And now I'm joining with the Outlaws. That's a great experience for me. I've been excited since I got the phone call when Mr. Reed called me, and I was like, how you like to come back to Enid, And I went through an old friend of ours as well, as being a player, not just USBL, I've been a lot of places, played all over the country. Last cut with Orlando in '94, played a year and a half with the Globetrotters. So I've been, in this game a long time, to where I perceive it as coaching. Also in the ABA, got a couple of ABA championships, and it's just that road, that ride down that road was just so exciting. And now, I mentor and train kids and put them in that right direction now. But right now, joining this club here, it's just been exciting since I've been here, and I only been here like a week or so, and then this great group of guys, and I love them.
Awesome. Tell me, how do you feel like your experience has prepared you for what you're doing now?
A lot of my experience, I try to come in with guys, with this era today, with the game of basketball, there's a lot of guys that, at a young age, it's not the same as back when, when I was playing. But, now with me coaching, I come in to bring in, professional experience as far as guys pushing them hard, to work hard. Also, mentor them as far as mentally, discipline, get their character, the mistakes I've made coming up, showing these guys today what's right to do and what's not right to do,
Okay. As head coach, tell me about what do you feel how your experience has helped you in this position as head coach?
Well, obviously I've worked for a lot of really good coaches and who have been great mentors to me. I just want to say that I love the addition of Johnny to the staff. He's exactly right. These guys are trying to get where he's been, and he can provide them with that expertise, that knowledge, that experience. So we're thrilled to have Johnny on staff. Like I mentioned, the mentors I've had over the years, the coaches I've worked for, obviously you learn a lot what you can do and maybe what not to do. But you kind of build your own philosophy from that throughout the years. And I've coached over 50 plus, 60 plus players who've gone on to play professionally as a college coach. So player development and learning different types of styles, philosophies, defense, offensive schemes. All these things put together prepare you for when the opportunity comes like this, and you want to take advantage of it, and that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. So coaching this team, how has that inspired you to pursue your personal goals? I don't know,
I really don't try to think about personal goals, honestly. It's never been about me. It never will be about me. I always say you're only good if someone else says you're good, because anybody can tell you you're good. I remember guys coming to the office all the time. How'd you play last night? I was really good. Well, how would Johnny say you played last night? You can always say you're good. Right. So it's never about me, really. It's all about the players. It's about relationships. It's about helping them become professional, doing the right things, being in the right place, doing what they're supposed to be doing while they're there. And then helping them reach those goals. They all have these dreams and they all have these expectations and they're trying to get there. my playing days have been over for a long time, you know, so it's me trying to help them get there, and if I can help them do that, you know, that makes me feel good, about the job I'm doing, and that's more important to me than where I end up at the end of the day.
Okay, cool. What about yourself?
I mean, I speak the same. Like, you know, like Coach said, you know, we sit together, you know, and that what takes us coaches at the time, you know, to get these guys where they need to be, you know, and Coach has the experience and I have my experience, and, you know, once we put that together, you know, I'm looking at it as a hard team to stop, because we have a great group of guys, and since I've been here, I love them, you know, and a lot of these guys, they listen, you know, they listen to Coach, they listen to me, and that's showing these guys are coachable, and they, you know, they're ready to get to where they need to get. And like I said, you know, the talent is just crazy with this team right now. So,
okay, I know you've been for 2 games, and you've been through the season, of course.
Yes.
What can you tell me? What have you learned thus far from this set of players?
You know, it's been its own little journey. We've, like Coach said, we've got a really great group of young men. The talent is abundant. The key has been, can we put that talent together and the pieces together to play as a unit? And I really feel like over the last few weeks we've done that. Now, we've had some bumps in the road, like always, but those are growing pains, and you learn to overcome adversity. And we knew there'd be adversity. When you're an organization that's won a championship and you're going to have a target on your back, and we talked about that day one in our first meeting. Hey, we've got a target on our back, you know, and honestly, you know, the organization, we won the championship. It was an outstanding team. It was an amazing season. Everybody contributed in their way, and it was a lot of fun. But we've only got one guy from that team back from last year. So with the help of Jay Reed and the organization, them helping me, helping Johnny, and then sharing their experience with us and being a winning organization, we're able to carry that over to practice. Even though we only have one returning player, they've kind of got to find their own way. And they've got to figure out how to win and how to become a championship team. And we're in the process of that. We're not there yet. We'll continue to work on that and continue to get better. But we've certainly shown signs recently that we are turning the corner as trusting our teammates, trusting each other, believing in each other. And that's shown in the way we've shared the basketball, the way we've defended, the way we've got out and played extremely hard against very good competition.
Okay. I know, of course, one goal is to win a championship again this year, but what other goals would you say, starting with you, would you say have for the team?
Getting them to the next level, getting them to where they worked hard at for the whole season, to where they're getting rewarded, to getting a job overseas, or, you know, the G League or something like that, you know. And it comes from work hard, you know. When we push these guys to where they need to be at that level, and that's me and Coach's job, you know. We're gonna get these guys where they need to be, as far as, you know, the attitude, character, just being a total all-around professional. And that's really our job. So, and, you know, right now, these guys, you know, it's not, when I came in, it wasn't a hard job for me, because Coach had pretty much already got these guys to where they're there. And all I just come in and just bring in my little experience, and everything molded into place. So, you know, since I've been here again, I've come into a great organization to compare it to a lot of organizations that I have been a part of, to where I had to come from the bottom to the top to fix. But with me, I just come straight into this organization and been right there to the top. It wasn't no bottom to the top for me. So again, you know, that's showing it's a great group of guys, you know, and they real coachable, and they hungry, and they know what they want.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with Coach. Everybody wants to win a championship. At the end of the day, only one team's going to stand there with the trophy.
That's right.
But for us, it's the journey to get there. It's the entire trip, the entire process as we go. And in that process, we have to develop them as young men. We're going to develop them as basketball players.
Right.
And if we do that, as we are doing it right now, they continue to grow. And they not only become the best basketball players they can be to take their game to the highest level that they want to go, but they also become good citizens in the community. They become good fathers. They become good husbands, and we teach them to be professionals at all levels, on and off the court, and that's really what we're here for, and that's really what it's all about. It's about mentoring young men and helping them reach their goals and succeed on and off the court.
I know after the last season, I can see how well this organization has developed their players to be good men. Over this past year, who can you say has been the most improved player since the beginning?
You know, for me, I think that's a great question, because I think each and every one of them have shown where they've improved in certain areas. I think when you look at our point guard currently right now in Chuck Guy, a guy who plays extremely hard, has great passion for the game, has the ability to score, but his ability, taking those abilities and now trying to make his teammates better, trying to lead them, trying to share the basketball, put his teammates in situations to succeed. And that hasn't been an easy transfer for him, because he's always been really a main scorer for everybody's with. But him trying to make those shifts really big. You know, Ricardo Ortiz, you know, he always says to me, well, Coach, you don't have to draw up any plays for me. I'll just go get my own on the glass. I'll run the floor. I'll get my steals. And he says, Coach, I'm take the pressure up. But I still draw plays up for him because he's a really good player. But you know, one thing about Ricky is, I always say this and everybody kind of chuckles, but he kind of brings this sense of calmness over our team. When there's some adversity, he just has to smile. And when he does that, the team kind of looks at, because he's a very funny guy.
Right.
But when he smiles, it's like, hey, we're okay and we're good. You know, KD Moore has really grown in the last month. Just maturing as a person, maturing as a player, and finding his role and embracing it. You know, we gave him a particular role and said, hey, and at first there was a lot of guys, when you tell them you don't want them to do something, they want to go and prove you wrong, you know. And there was a little of that early, but now that he's embraced it, he's playing his best basketball right now, and he is all about team. So, and I could go right down the list. There's so many. I mean, Venji Wallace was terrific this weekend. You know, Marcus has been hurt for us, and he was really a significant part for us until he got hurt, but he'll be back. And, you know, actually this last week we learned a lot about ourselves last week, because we had such adversity. We've had so many injuries, and then we had a virus go through our team where a lot of guys fell ill. And we actually played this weekend without all our post players and our big guys, and our guards had to go out and accept a different type of challenge. And they found out, you know, hey, you know, it may not always be perfect, but we can still do what we want to do and accomplish the things we want to do no matter what adversity hits us. So we could go down the list of every player, and everybody's improved in some fashion. And I'm pleased with that, and we want to continue to have that happen throughout the rest of the year.
Is there a player that we should be looking out for? You know, sometimes as a coach, you can see further down the road. You can look in the future as a futurist mindset. You can say, this player is not using all their potential per se, and I can see them being way greater than where they are. Is there someone you should be looking out for, or looking like, maybe up and coming star?
You know, Kadavian Evans, I think, has been a pleasant surprise and really done an excellent job for us. At one time he was our leading scorer. He's been kind of hampered with a little bit of an injury, but he's fighting through it and continuing to play. But we got to get him back to shooting the ball the way he was early, but he's somebody that I would keep an eye on, besides the guys I've already mentioned, you know. And then there's some other guys that, you know, like we got a young one in Corey Boyd that's only 22 years old and didn't play any college ball. He needs to mature and grow and get seasoned. He didn't get that seasoning from college, so he's got some immaturity and things like that. But once he gets through that, especially with the help of Coach Johnny here and stuff, and for all our bigs, but there's a guy who's just, you know, has to grow as a young man and then carry that over to the floor. And, you know, he has a chance to be really good, and he doesn't know how good he could really be.
Right. Okay. So speaking on that, I imagine, how do you pick your players in that aspect? They have tryouts and what have you?
Yeah, we had 3 or 4 tryouts preseason. Actually, Jonathan Reed and Billy Height and Sherry Edwards do a lot of the research in the background preseason and get guys that want to come try out. We have guys that want to, and those we invite, you know. And then we do have a combine for the league right before the season with the draft. But yet, the people I mentioned, they're out there doing their research. They're finding out who's available, who's interested, and who can be the right fit for this organization. And they bring the guys in, and we just get the pleasure of coaching them. They ask, I don't know how many times, can you coach this guy? And you get on the phone, you talk, yeah, I can coach him. All right, let's go get him. And they put the team together, and they deserve the credit for that.
Okay. Coach, tell me about what is your philosophy of coaching? And
I mean, with me, it's just building that relationship with the guys, putting them in that right direction to, working hard. It's not easy. You're going to have to work hard to where you're going to have to, where you want to be, where you want to get to. And like I said, me coming up, playing the game of basketball, it wasn't easy. It was always a fight, no matter. Every time you touch the floor, it's hard work. It's a fight, because I learned the game of you never know who's watching you, who's scouting you. So it always goes to my philosophy too, on and off the court, being as a professional, and that's pushing yourself and being out in the community as well, because like I said, you never know who's watching you, and you got to carry yourself as a professional, and that's, greeting yourself better in the public. Dressing, these days now with this era of these guys with their pants halfway down and, this new style. But, my style has been totally different to how I was coached and how I was brought into the game, and how I ended the game was pass it on to the next talent.
Okay.
That's how I've always been, and that's my mentoring as well. I train. And I mentor guys. I may walk by one of my guys and tell them, hey, pull your pants up, or, give them a little pep talk. Even before practice, I give them how you feel, and just get in their head and give them that feeling to where, how it is in the game of basketball today.
Okay. How about you, Coach?
Yeah, my Johnny hit it on the head. My philosophy's always been a little different. A lot of people like to talk about X's and O's and defensive schemes and things like that, and that all is very important in the game. But for me, relationships is number one. Relationships with my coaching staff, relationships with the players, and the player-to-player relationships are very, very important to us. I think without relationships, you don't have the ability to trust in each other, believe in each other, and at the same time hold each other accountable. So the relationship aspect is so very, very important. We number one on my list to begin with. Also understanding that we're here for them, and it's player development and personal development for them, to continue to help them grow. The things we've touched on in this conversation, those two things are really big for me on philosophies. Once you talk about those, then you start talking about actually the philosophy of building a team. And I think because each of these guys are trying to get somewhere, there tends to be a little bit of ego and a little bit of goal-oriented for themselves. So now you got to be able to build that team by developing this servanthood and this selflessness to give back to each other, because you're only good as the guy next to you. So they've got to have this servanthood, selfless belief. They've got to learn how to take ownership for not only their own things that they do, good or bad. They also have to be able to hold their teammates accountable. So ownership is important. There has to be this unified belief in each other. So they got to unify, play together, believe in each other, and then they got to see it as a larger purpose. For example, yes, being an Enid Outlaw is extremely important, and having a successful season and them reaching their goals and getting better goals. But it's also about getting out there and being a mentor and understanding that the people of Enid are watching, and these little kids are watching, and they want to be you, and they want to come out and see you play, and they're going to be watching you to see how you act and the things you do, and they're going to emulate everything you do. So there's a larger purpose. So with all that being said, it's a little bit different than what a lot of coaches may talk about, but I think it's so important before you get to the X's and O's and your defense and offensive schemes, which are, like I said, are extremely important.
Okay. Now, I know that the Outlaws are currently tied on number 2 in the Central Division. What will it take for the Outlaws to gain that number 1 spot and retain it, and also to gain the number 1 spot in the TBL?
Right.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's certainly something we're going to strive to do, and it's something that we're very capable of achieving. Right now, we're playing some really good basketball. We're getting some guys back who've been injured. and some guys who've been sick. Now the key is to continue playing the way we've been playing the last 2 weeks, without any interruptions or any distractions, and continue to grow and improve on that. We can't just say, okay, we're good because we played good last week. We got to continue to take that, learn from it, and grow from that. Now we got a difficult schedule. I mean, we've got a couple. We got 3-4 games on the road against some very good teams. We got some games at home against some very good teams that are up in the upper echelon of the standings. But in this league, you can't slip. You got to be ready every night. I know we got a big road trip down the road where we got to go to Rockwall and then turn around and travel 8 hours to Little Rock, and that's not easy to do. So every game is important, and we got to continue to see it that way and continue to grow and learn and get better. And if we do that, we'll put ourselves in a situation where we'll have success.
What's your thoughts on that?
Preparation. Like I said, just coming in the 2 weeks I've been here, I've seen a great group of guys, and they had a little week break. They come back in, and me and Coach's job is to get them right back to where they left off at. And it makes our job easier if they come right back in focus. And once they come in focus, it's going to take off from there. And like Coach said earlier, we're going to have targets on our back. But at the same time, we're going to keep fighting. And we have a great group of guys that fights, and they love to win, and they'll do whatever they have to do to win. And that's what I love about these guys, And they play together, they got each other back, and it's just, they scrap. And like I said, like Coach said earlier, we got big guys that, that's been injured or sick. But we have guys that, not even big guys, but they step their game up to be big guys together. Not just one guy, not just two guys. They stepped up together, and like I said, we've been small lately. Since I've been here, we've been small, but we've been playing big. And, for a small team to be playing against big guys, big team, we not even, you're supposed to be getting, crushed on the glass. And we haven't. We've been losing our battles on the boards 2 by 2. And that's good right there with a great group of guys. And again, these guys have each other back and they play together. And when you play together and you got that chemistry, it's just hard to stop. That's it.
Okay. I would just say to that weekend where we were small, the conversations with the coaching staff and with the players was that we weren't concerned. That we felt we had enough guys in uniform that we could get the job done that weekend. And we didn't discuss about what we didn't have. We talked about what we did have.
What we did. That's
and they went out there and proved we had more than enough to get the weekend done shorthanded.
And it was scary. It was scary.
Well, that's a good outlook, and I love that.
Right.
Last question here. What advice would you give someone, let's say someone's in high school, elementary, say, you know what, when I grow up, I want to be on Enid Outlaws. What should they be doing now to prepare themselves through that? It'd be, of course, good to play well in high school, go to college, play well. But what advice do you have?
I'm gonna go with first. It's something when I first came into it, education is first. Because if you don't have the education, it's talent everywhere. But when it's talent everywhere, you got to have this. And I look at it when I first started, I had some of this and some of this. So, and that means, mind, heart, and like it's hard to teach that today, but we try, it's me and Coach and our staff, we try to lead these guys in the right direction, and that starts again off the court and on the court. So, we try to push these guys to. And that's these kids today come up today. We'll train them, but I'm going to always stay on kids today as far as the education first. Okay. And that's something when I first came in, I didn't take education serious. I declared for the draft. I left school early just to avoid education, but you got to have that knowledge, and it ain't just basketball, football. It can be any profession, but you got to have that knowledge. That's just off the gate.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd agree with Coach. First and foremost, you got to have that education, because at the end of the day, not to be cliche or anything, but the ball stops bouncing at some point, and you have to have something to fall back on. Everybody has a shelf life, and when that shelf life is over, you got to have something, a plan B that you can go to. You know, it's you know, people don't realize how hard it is, not only to just be an Enid Outlaw, but to make it to a overseas job or a G League job, or especially the NBA, because at the end of the day, that's everybody's dream. So, and I tell everybody to follow their dream and go for it, and work your butt off to get there. And that's the biggest thing. You're going to have to really, really work hard, because when you're not working, somebody else is out there working to take your spot.
That's right.
So you got to be completely committed to doing that, and that's not easy to do, because such a little percent ever really get to make it there. But that doesn't mean you're not successful. I would encourage them all to chase failure. Keep chasing it until even if you say you failed, you didn't. You succeeded because you went as far as you could before it ended. Amen. So chase it, and just chase it with everything you got, and wherever that lands, you were successful.
Okay. Guys, very good advice, and I appreciate both of you, and we will be looking out for you guys on the court to see what's going on with the team. So,
sounds good. Thank you so much, Derrick.
All right. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
All right.
Enjoyed it.
All right. Thanks.